diplomacy and environmental diplomacy. And China is, I think I would say, the world leader in green technology and green diplomacy. In the last 2 years alone, just since 2023, China has installed more solar panels than the EU and USA have ever done in their entire history. And China is now responsible for 70% of all global wind power. It's a world leader in electric vehicles, and it is pouring billions of dollars into technology, critically, which it is then sharing with other global south countries. And China's using its expertise in renewables, in green technology, to greatly increase its influence in the global south as it takes the lead in renewables, as it takes the lead in green energy, and as other countries such as the USA step away from that challenge. So I think you can see through that that there are many similarities between the UK and China's approach to soft power, despite the fact that the UK and China have different values, and there are many things that the UK and China disagrees on. And the reason that I chose these two countries for a case study is that they are both very different in scale, both very different in terms of the place where they're coming from, given that the UK has for many, many years been a huge, had a huge soft power influence, whereas China is coming from a very small start, although last year China overtook the UK in the global rankings for soft power influence. So again, I think that shows, in the same way that Minister Kim demonstrated the success of Korea, how soft power is becoming much more important for countries around the world and how countries are deploying it effectively. So what does this mean for Thailand? Last year, when Prime Minister Seta and Kun Petongtan, when she was the Deputy Prime Minister, set up the Thai government Soft Power Committee, I was invited along with some other representatives to provide some recommendations on how Thailand could effectively develop its soft power. And I put together 7 recommendations which we presented to the committee. And we hope that with the change in government, that Prime Minister Anutin will keep and maintain the commitment to soft power that Kun Petongtan had when she was Prime Minister. So the recommendations that put forward draw on a lot of the research that the British Council has been doing and the research that I've tried to present to you this afternoon. The first recommendation was that alongside Thailand's incredible traditions and rich history and traditional institutions, which Thailand does a very, very good job of promoting, alongside that, Thailand should also project the incredible contemporary culture. It should project the modern music, design, fashion, art, film, and not just Muay Thai and Khon theatre. As wonderful as Muay Thai and Khon theatre are, Thailand should do much more internationally in the same way that Korea does very, very well to promote itself as a modern, dynamic, cultural juggernaut. Second recommendation was to promote opportunities to encourage people to engage more in Thailand in terms of working in Thailand, studying in Thailand, or spending more than just a week or 2 on the beach. At the moment, there are very, very few scholarship opportunities for foreign students to come and study in Thai universities, and there are very few incentives for foreign students to come and study and then carry on and work in Thailand. And if the government could think of some incentives and more scholarships, that again would boost Thailand's soft power. The third recommendation is around using one of Thailand's greatest assets, which is its diaspora. As I mentioned, there are almost 7,000 Thai students in UK universities. There are Thai restaurants all across the UK, and more we're seeing regional Thai restaurants. If you go to London or Manchester, you won't just see a Thai restaurant, you'll see an Isan restaurant or a restaurant which is specializing in the cuisine of the Lana North or of southern Thailand. And I think that Thailand could do much more to use its diaspora, to use its incredible cultural assets that are already overseas to promote itself as a modern, dynamic country. The fourth area is Minister Kim touched upon it, and I've mentioned it with the British Council. I think it's critically important when you're looking at building the cultural and creative industries that it's not done by government. Government often gets in the way of cultural development. And so effective governments delegate that to independent organizations and independent cultural sector, such as the British Council or through the Korean examples that Minister Kim gave earlier on. So for the government to really provide the platform, but then to step back and leave it to independent education and culture organizations. The fifth recommendation was to greatly increase its digital public diplomacy and cultural diplomacy. And sixth, to provide more support, financial support and policy support for its own cultural creative industries. And the seventh recommendation goes back to a theme that I've tried to put all the way through the presentation today, which is about the promotion of values. I've been very lucky not just to live in Thailand for 2 years, but to have traveled back and forth and visited Thailand many times since 1999. And over that time, I've been so lucky to see the incredible culture that is underpinned by Thai values. And I think that Thailand could greatly benefit from sharing those values and linking them to universal values that are shared in the rest of the world. And also recognizing that soft power doesn't exist in a vacuum, that everything that the government does in the UK or in Thailand or USA or China affects how citizens see us in other countries, and to take that into consideration when planning their activities. So in summary, it's a very uncertain world. We've seen the post-war international order crumble. We've seen increased uncertainty, and we've seen alliances change, even in the last 6 months. And at a time when there is increased uncertainty and there is increased conflict, I think it's ever more important to promote people-to-people engagement. Because while governments may disagree, while governments may be in conflict with one another, long-term engagement between the people of those countries still generates understanding, and that understanding leads to trust, and that trust leads to peace and prosperity. And soft power is critical to achieving that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Danny Whitehead. Such a great presentations about soft power and diplomacy, and it is clearly stated by Danny Whitehead, and based on his experiences too, since he has a lot of experience in Southeast Asia's countries like in Vietnam, in Thailand, in Indonesia, Cambodia, and many other countries. So from his explanation, he is able to make a comparison among the countries based on the experience of him related to the British culture too. And we can see here that soft power and diplomacy are closely intertwined concept in international relations. And it refers to a nation's ability to influence others through attraction and persuasion rather than force. And this influence can be cultivated through various means such as cultural diplomacy, education diplomacy, public diplomacy, and also digital diplomacy. And in diplomacy, as stated by Danny just now, so power can be used for build relationship and then promote interest as well as the shape a global narrative here. So now we come to the floor for Q&A. And we will invite some participants to propose some question, please. You can raise your hands and state your question directly, or you can type your question in chat menu. Okay, we find Aldila Samara. Okay, raising her hands, please. Okay, Aldila.
Okay, thank you. My name is Aldila. I'm an undergraduate student from Universitas Padjadjaran, Indonesia. And as a linguistic student, I would like to ask, what do you think is the best implementation of soft power through language and linguistics, specifically in my country, Indonesia, or even in Thailand? Thank you so much.
Such great question, Danny. Okay, it is based on linguistic or language. And I believe that your experience in Indonesia, in Thailand, you can make a good response for this question.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Aldila, for the question. It really is a great question. I think language is critical in soft power because I mentioned during the presentation that when you speak the same language as somebody else, it is the most powerful way to be able to communicate and to transmit understanding. When you speak the same language or when you share a language, it's the only way that you can make sure that any kind of dialogue is two-way and that it is founded on mutuality. So in terms of building trust, having a shared language is critically important for building influence and for building attraction. Now, unfortunately, sometimes that has been interpreted as from the UK and from other countries going to force the English language on other countries around the world and insisting that everybody speaks English. That's not useful for soft power because it undermines trust, and it's also not useful in terms of educational outcomes. We know that children learn best in a language that they understand, and that imposing a language from above, whether that be English or whether that be a national language, on speakers of from ethnic groups who don't speak the national language, that has a very negative impact on educational outcomes. So when we look at how to use language in our cultural relations, we have two priorities. The first priority is to support any learners or teachers around the world in teaching and assessing and learning English better. So we want anybody who wants to learn English, we want to help them. We also want to help ministries of education make sure that the provision of English language teaching is equitable. You know, if you live in Bangkok or if you live in Jakarta, you probably have access to good English teachers. You have access to English language media. If you live in a remote village in northeastern Isan in Thailand, if you live on Timor in a small village, or if you're in Central Java and you don't have access to teachers, unfortunately, that means that English language is a gatekeeper, and that because you don't have access to the same teachers and the same materials, your prospects for employment and for future aspects are reduced. So we want to work with ministries of education to help them provide a more equitable provision of English language to everybody, to people in rural areas, to people in less economically developed areas. So on that side, we hope that all those activities will not only help people speak English better, but we hope that it will give people a more positive view of the UK. We also hope that we hope that when people use English more, they can learn more about our values and the way that we run our country. However, we have to be sure that we mitigate any risk that it will have a negative impact on minority languages.